Ms. Valenzuela, would you please lead us to the salute? Everybody stand up and face the flag.
Your hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Do we have roll call?
Commissioner Woods? Here. Commissioner Valenzuela?
Present.
Commissioner Muse?
Here.
Vice Chair Maciel?
Present.
Chair Padilla?
Here. This is a time set aside for oral communications. Anybody in the public can speak on any subject other than what's in the agenda.
Chair and Commissioners, I'd like to introduce to you Victor Garamontes. He's our new economic development
title. Actually, my title is management analyst.
Anyway, he has been with us about 3 weeks, and I wanted to introduce him to you to also let you know that we are doing things with.
Yeah. Well, good evening, Commissioners. I'd like to thank Amy for an opportunity to come by and introduce myself. Again, my name is Victor. I'm management analyst in the Community Development Department, and I'll be working in primarily economic development initiatives. So we've already been working with Mark and Amy, planning staff, and working to work with our current businesses and helping them out, and then also working to bring new businesses to the city to fill available opportunities that we have here. So we're working closely also with our IT department, so we're looking to improve our website, especially the business-related information on it. We've already started doing some things there, and I look forward to working with this commission if there's any opportunities to come up in the future on anything business-related. We welcome your opinions and thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Are we allowed to talk about what's on the agenda or no?
Yes. Right now, you can talk about what's not on the agenda. There will be public hearings for each of the items.
Okay, so I should wait then?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Does anybody else want to speak? Seeing that there's no other interest, I will now close the oral communications. On the consent calendar, I think there was 2 items from a couple. I don't think there's. Do you want any discussions on it between the last 2 consent calendar items in the committee? See, there's no interest in. We'll close the consent calendar.
We need a motion.
Motion to close the consent calendar.
To approve the consent calendar.
To approve the consent calendar. I'm sorry. Do I hear a motion?
A motion.
Second.
Motion approved.
All those in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, this is a public hearing with staff present their case. Introduce your case.
Can you hear me? Okay. Honorable Chair, Commissioners, and members of the audience, my name is Mirai Castillo, and I'm representing planning staff. The request before you is a request to consider an automotive repair facility and spray booth located in a 3,460 square foot space in an existing industrial building located in the industrial commercial zone. The address is 1366 Main Avenue, Units A and B. The applicant is FM Body and Classic Restorations Incorporated. Case number is CP 826. The applicant, FM Body and Classic Restorations, is proposing to allow the operation of automobile repair and spray booth and restoration facility, which specializes in the restoration of post office vehicles and some auto body restoration to classic cars. In addition, the facility will not conduct any mechanical work. However, they will do some body work to classic vehicles, and occasionally when they get some regular vehicles from word of mouth, but that would be on rare occasions. This is the surrounding uses to the property, and the leasing area of the building is approximately 5,000 square feet, but only, like I mentioned, 3,460 square feet will be used by the applicant. The spray booth component is proposed as an accessory use, and the post office vehicle repair will be the primary component of the business, pursuant to verbal confirmation from the applicant. They also have, they actually have a contract with the post office to do repair to these vehicles. This is the aerial view of the property, and the proposed use is compatible with surrounding operations to the east, which is right here, such as welding and assembly. However, the properties to the side, to the south right here, and to the west are single-family residences, but are still zoned industrial commercial. So right here to the south and to the west. The automobile repair component will be operating at the southernmost part of the building, closer to the residences. Therefore, staff has added conditions of approval to ensure that the activities will not have adverse impact to those properties. A condition of approval is also included to prevent any storage of vehicles within the parking area or any site or any of the residential area that is allocated outside to the south and to the west side. This is the site plan that was provided by the applicant, and as you can see here is the office building, where the office building will be. And one of the conditions is condition B restricts all vehicle repair and body work, including sanding, cutting, welding, and painting, to be conducted within the enclosed building at all times. Another condition is condition D, that requires that the applicant refrains from any outdoor storage of automobile parts and miscellaneous equipment within the parking lot or driveway areas of the property. Condition I restricts the business-specific hours of operation, which will be from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday, when will be closed on Saturdays and Sundays. And this is also in compliance with the section referencing noise in the municipal code. This is the floor plan and elevation that they provided. And I don't know if you see here very clearly, but this is going to be the auto prep and paint area. This is where the spray paint booth is going to be, and the office area. And the two bays will be on these two sites. The spray paint component will be located on the upper left corner. And another condition, it requires that the applicant provides a copy of a permit from the South Coast Air Quality Management District for the spray paint booth prior to finalizing any building permits. And also the elevation, they're not going to do any sort of facade or any exterior alteration, I should say. And this is just a picture of the existing building with adjacent landscape, which is well maintained and also provides sufficient parking spaces. Staff has reviewed the application and operational components and has determined that the added conditions of approval, the proposed business will not have a significant negative impact to the adjacent properties. And in conclusion, staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt Resolution PC 1516, entitled A Consideration for an Automotive Repair Facility and Spray Booth, to be located in a 3,460 square foot space with an existing industrial building located within the industrial commercial zone. Location 1366 Main Avenue, Units A and B. Applicant FM Body and Classic Restorations. And this concludes staff presentation.
Is there any questions from the commissioners to I forget her last name, lady, but is there any questions concerning this issue? Get your first
I
name.
have a question for the applicant. I have a question for the applicant.
The applicant is here. Come on down.
If there's no questions, then it'll go to the applicant, okay?
Good evening. I'm one of the owners, Mark.
I'm a car guy, and I can hardly believe that you could operate this business without storing some vehicles somewhere. You know, I know how it goes, and you're working on one car, and then you need something for another one, and then you got to put that one aside, and so there'll be no storage. It's hard to fathom that there'd be no storage of vehicles somewhere.
My partner and I have been doing this for 18 years, and we've refined it down to the point. Specifically with the postal vehicles, their requirement restrictions are that they be inside the building at all time because of security reasons, security risks for them. When we do cars, and we have been doing classic cars for 18 years, and in fact, Grand National Car Show, we have done a car that has been entered into that and stuff. The classic cars are done one at a time because these things take we hear horror stories from shops that, or people that have taken cars to shops and they've had them a year, 2 years, or something like this. We turn a vehicle in no more than 6 months. So this is our hobby. The bread and butter are the postal vehicles, and I do 2 or 3 of them typically at a time. But they provide me the parts, and I don't get the vehicle until they get the approval to do the repairs. So once it comes in, time is of the essence to get the vehicle back to them. They're a commercial account, so that's how they view it. Time is of the essence.
Okay, just thought a little curious because I've worked on cars for 50 years, and I know I get in a point where you have to kind of put it to the side for a while and jump on something else.
Yeah,
Waiting for stuff or waiting for something.
one of our
I admire your abilities, I'll tell you.
Well, one of our intentions is that this don't be something like what you would see on TV, because this is we're trying to promote the business of the classic car restorations, and the internet and cable TV has taken off for these things, and people want to see it indoors all the time in a nice clean place and secure, etc. That's our intentions to present it like that. But we have been doing one at a time. So, that way you get our full attention until the car is done.
Sounds good.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, I got a question. You got 3,460 square foot building?
No, sir. It's a 5,600 square foot building. 5,600.
Your work area is 3,460. Your area alone, it says right here.
I would have to check the numbers, but that may be around
3,000 or 3,500 square feet?
Yeah, that sounds about correct.
How many cars can you store inside that building? 4 or 5 cars?
No, we anticipate that once the booth is in there, that we'll have 2 sections. It's 2 units that we're leasing. So one unit will be primarily is the body work end of the thing, and we'll be able to put. We anticipate 5 to 6 vehicles in there, mostly the postal vehicles. The other side will be the paint shop side of it, the clean side of it, away from the body work. And so the units are separated. There's just a small door between the two. So we'll move the vehicles around from one side over to the other into the paint shop, and in there, they'll have room for another 5 vehicles. So we're looking at 10, 11, as many as 12 vehicles spaced inside the facility. But that would be the maximum.
Okay, next question is, when you're done with the car and you say you pretty much got it painted, do you put them outside then at the time, or is there a time limit, how long the car stays there, or the customer picks it up, or once the car is done, like, you know, you got a few things more to do, you start another car?
Yeah, the post office, of course, they want them back right away, so we deliver it to them. We deliver the vehicles, pick up and deliver the vehicles to them. So, like I say, time is of the essence for them, number one. And number two, on the classic cars, when we're done, these people are begging to get their car most of the time. So nothing sits and waits. You know, they're there to pick it up and get going with it. So,
I just got one. Do you have a lift in that facility to lift cars up? No?
No, sir. No, we just use our floor jacks.
Strictly restoration?
Yeah, strictly restoration. Body shop and mechanics don't mix.
Okay. Very good. Anybody else?
Thank you.
One more question, I'm sorry.
Of course.
You say the large percentage of your business will be with the Postal Service, right?
With the Postal Service, that is correct.
Okay. Did you have a contract, or were you some other location prior to purchasing this area?
Yes, sir. I have been in business for 18 years at our current location. The property was sold, and so it forced us to move from there. We lease. And I have contract with the Postal Service from several facilities that they call their vehicle maintenance facility, and so their VMFs are the ones that supply me the vehicles. One of them is right here in close by in La Puente and Pasadena. So that's two of the areas that will supply me vehicles, and I go pick them up and I bring them back. But in the contract here recently, they have specified security being a very high priority to these things. We had vehicles when 9/11 hit, and the first thing we got was a phone call and said, "Mark, I need an accounting of all the vehicles." So the yard space or the property that we had before had yard space, and it was fenced and locked, but we feel that indoors is even better.
Okay, thank you.
All set? Thank you.
There are no more questions? One of the commissioners to make a move to if there's anybody in the audience that'd like to speak on this issue, you're welcome to get up and speak on it. See that there's no interest, I will ask one of the commissioners to move this on. Would you like to move it on?
I motion to move this forward.
I'll second it.
That's PC 15-16.
Okay, make a motion to,
All those in favor?
all those in favor to adopt PC 1516? Make a motion.
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Motion PC 1516 is passed. Staff, anything else on the agenda?
Yes, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, Commissioners, members of the audience, Abraham Tejas representing planning staff. This item is a request for consideration of a proposed amendment to the city's municipal code, standards for specific land uses and activities, and M definitions. prohibiting medical and recreational marijuana dispensaries, cultivation, delivery, and mobile dispensaries. The location is citywide. The applicant is the City of Baldwin Park, and the case number is AZC 180. In September of 2015, the Governor of California signed the Medical Marijuana Regulation and Safety Act into law, also known as the MRSA. The act requires local jurisdictions to adopt an ordinance to either regulate or prohibit the cultivation of medical marijuana by March 1st, 2016. If regulation or prohibition is not in effect by March 1st, the city will lose its land use authority over the cultivation, and the California Department of Food and Agriculture will immediately become the sole licensing authority. To give you a little bit of background, in order to be in line with the Federal Controlled Substances Act and as a response to the California Compassionate Use Act of 1996, the City of Baldwin Park originally prohibited medical marijuana dispensaries, but the city's current prohibition ordinance does not explicitly prohibit cultivation. As a result, staff determined that the city's current code prohibiting dispensaries will not address the MRSA requirements. Staff also determined that the current Baldwin Park prohibition does not address other medical marijuana uses as indicated by the MRSA, and it does not address any recreational or non-medical use of marijuana. Staff recommends the explicit prohibition of all medical marijuana uses as indicated in the MRSA, as well as prohibition of recreational marijuana uses. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission open public hearing and following the public hearing adopt Resolution PC 15-15 entitled A Resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Baldwin Park recommending that the City Council amend subchapters 153.120 Part 10 and 153.220.140 Standards for Specific Land Uses and Activities and M definitions of the city's municipal code to be consistent with state law. Location is citywide, the applicant City of Baldwin Park, and the case numbers AZC 180. This concludes staff's presentation.
Any questions by the commissioners to staff? I have a question. This is just an amendment to add to what we already have?
It's to add more clarification to be able to address the MRSA requirements, the state requirements.
It's specifically adding cultivation and mobile dispensaries. Is that correct? Damon?
Correct, and the deliveries, yes.
And deliveries, right.
Very good. Is there anybody that wants to speak on this subject in the audience?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jacob Dunn, and I am a resident of the San Gabriel Valley. First, before I start speaking, I'd like to point you to the flag we set our allegiance to. It was first made out of marijuana fibers by Betsy Ross. Just an interesting fact for you guys. So according to the San Gabriel Valley Tribune, in July of 2015, faulty electrical work from a clandestine marijuana grow operation caused a house fire in the 14400 block of Estella Street in Baldwin Park. When fire crews arrived at the home to extinguish the flames, over 1,000 marijuana plants were discovered along with 100 containers of an unknown chemical agent. The hazmat team was quickly called out to investigate the contents and to determine if there was any possible risk to the public. If Baldwin Park had city ordinances in place for legal marijuana cultivation, this public hazard just discussed could have been averted. For example, this type of large-scale commercial grow should be undertaken in industrial, commercial areas of the city where proper permitting and zoning would allow for marijuana to be produced in a professional and safe setting. By drafting ordinances that would responsibly regulate marijuana, the City of Baldwin Park could ensure that marijuana is produced safely and that no toxic chemicals, fertilizers, or pesticides are used in its production. No mystery barrels here. Here we are dealing with an unchecked public health and safety issue with regard to the safe access of medical marijuana. Moreover, this past week I put in a call to the planning department of Baldwin Park. A voice recording informed me that due to budget cuts, no one is on staff to take my phone call, so I would need to leave a message and someone would call me back in a timely manner. The taxes and licensing fees collected from legal marijuana cultivation and distribution by the city of Baldwin Park could help pay for that someone to answer the phone. It could also help to repair deteriorating infrastructure, or to fund educational programs, or addiction programs, or community gardens, or much, much more. And the bottom line is this. Despite the fact that the city of Baldwin Park has previously enacted city ordinances prohibiting medical marijuana, many people like the operator of the dangerous marijuana grow cited above are still operating in the shadows by growing and distributing marijuana onto the black market. Illegal grows like this will continue to exist as long as patients are denied safe access. One of the great promises of marijuana legalization has been the concurrent elimination of the black market, putting local dealers out of business while sticking it to cartels by cutting into their bottom line. Regulated medical marijuana dispensaries at least reduce the chance of marijuana falling into the hands of children or minors. Lastly, regulated medical marijuana would free up law enforcement officials to focus on violent crimes and also free up court resources by reducing the number of individuals circulating through the criminal justice system for marijuana-related crimes.
Sir, your time is up.
Can I just finish 30 more seconds? May I please have 30 more seconds?
It's at the purview of the chair.
I'm almost done, I promise.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So in closing, if perhaps the city of Baldwin Park would amend its ordinance to allow for a very small number of medical marijuana dispensaries and associated cultivation facilities to operate under the new medical marijuana laws going into effect in January 2016. In any case, should the city council decide to amend the language of the city ordinance banning medical marijuana dispensaries and the other things we have discussed tonight, then I would strongly encourage the city of Baldwin Park to consider granting a special permit for a small cultivation facility for a minimum of a 1-year trial.
Sir,
this
your
would
30
allow the
seconds
city.
are up.
Time's up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is anybody else that likes to speak on this subject? The audience? Any questions by the commissioners? Seeing that there's no interest, we'll close the public hearing. Again, I'd like to move this on. When the commissioners move it on, make a motion on it.
I'll make a motion to move this to the city council for amendment, EZC 180.
Motion has been moved. Take a vote.
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion's been moved.
That would be a passage of PC 15-15. This matter will go to the city council for consideration.
Thank you.
And that is for a recommendation of approval, correct?
That's correct.
Thank
Correct.
you.
Is there anything else staff would like to bring up?
Officers, the reports provided you back and looked, and we division. So, included after your agenda packet online was the month August, September. Another thing that I just wanted to point out, how many design reviews had the planning January had 80 design reviews. Hoping that will stay back until moving on to council staff communication. First item under council staff communication, update on the at 30 Avenue. As I stated at the last planning commission, there was a settlement agreement, and on Monday of applicants tomorrow need to application lots into one. So that will be an item. Next item. Materials. On tonight's Irwindale, there is a contract extension consultant on primarily the environmental response to environmental impact report that the items like that. So we're thinking that the final item under council staff communication update on the proposed olive pit. As I stated last settlement, however, I have been told it involves a significant
Thank you. Is there any other questions by anybody? Staff? And there's no other interest, I call for a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
You made the motion.
Oh,
You made a
a
motion.
motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Okay, meeting's adjourned.